Here's the first reason zooming out is an important stage of my zoom out, call it out, work it out process. Better decision making. When individuals or teams focus too closely on a problem, they often get bogged down in details. While details matter, they can also blind people to larger, more critical factors that should influence decision making and make prioritization therefore go seriously wrong. Zooming out allows decision makers to step back and evaluate broader implications, trade-offs and potential risks. It helps balance short-term needs with long-term goals, leading for thoughtful and well-rounded choices. I often give people the example of zooming out on something like Google Earth, just for the sake of some illustration. That bit of missing paint on your house may pain you every time you walk by it, but keep zooming out the view a little bit, and you'll soon gain some perspective about how important that minor imperfection really is. Or who knows, you may see that your roof is in the process of blowing away, which would seem like a more important problem to solve. A person may make a rash decision about a pretty good relationship based on 2 or 3 specific events that are small, but annoying, neglecting to zoom out and see overall the relationship is great. Nobody's perfect, and maybe patience or perfectionism are the issue rather than a bad partner. A manager overwhelmed by a tight deadline may prioritize speed over quality. By zooming out and considering the long-term repercussions, such as the impact on client satisfaction or the team's overall workload, they may opt for a different approach that balances immediate results with sustained success. So isn't it best to put your best foot forward by seeing the full state of affairs in order to upgrade your overall prioritization? So here's the second reason zooming out is an important stage of my zoom out, call it out, work it out process. Improved problem solving. Complex problems often cannot be solved by focusing on one part alone. Systems thinking, which emphasizes understanding how various parts of a system interact, requires individuals to zoom out and view the entire landscape. By doing so, they can identify root causes rather than just symptoms. For example, a parent may decide that their children are naughty because they are all over the place, in the way, never doing what the parent would like them to be doing at any given moment. A pause and a zoom out might demonstrate upon deeper thinking that there's simply no routine in place. Nobody has a blueprint that they should be following. All there is that wish somewhere in the parent's mind. Something hasn't failed yet if you haven't tried it. Nobody's being naughty if they're just being themselves and not actually rebelling against a thing they'd been told about already. The problem to be solved is the finding of an hour to sit down and design a routine with some rewards or consequences. Then introduce it to everyone and stick to it, not to start yelling again. In an organization, if a team consistently fails to meet deadlines, the issue might not be with individual productivity, but with the overall workflow, communication bottlenecks, or perhaps resource allocation. Zooming out helps leaders see these interconnections and craft more effective, holistic solutions. Doesn't that seem like an early lifesaver? It does to me. Here's the third reason why zooming out is an important stage of my zoom out, call it out, work it out process. Enhanced emotional resilience. In stressful situations, individuals often become fixated on immediate challenges, which can lead to tunnel vision, heightened stress, and impulsive reactions. Zooming out allows people to pause and gain emotional distance, which helps in regulating their responses. Seeing the bigger picture often puts problems into perspective, making them seem less overwhelming and much more manageable. You may be mad at a friend because she's telling you she can only meet you for lunch for maybe 45 minutes, and you therefore begin to feel a bit like a work appointment. But if you zoom out and remember that in her family, she's the only one who's organized, and therefore she gets lumbered with all of the crises and fixes they throw at her, then you can perhaps see it from the angle that she probably would have liked to sleep for 90 minutes at that particular point in time in a dark, quiet room, but chose to travel to meet you for 45 minutes instead. You might be having a lovely quiet life or quiet week at the moment, but that's not everybody else's starting position. Taking offense therefore seems like a waste of time and emotion when you remind yourself of that bigger picture now, doesn't it? Alternatively, a conflict between colleagues may seem like a major issue in the heat of the moment, but zooming out reveals it to be a temporary setback that can be resolved with the clear communication and empathy that we all require in the workplace anyway. This perspective helps people stay calm and grounded even when things seem chaotic. That's why I love to teach in the workplace some terminology around how people are different so that people spot more quickly when those differences are what's getting under their skin. When we understand behaviours, we know to zoom out more quickly in order to find a solution to the increasing pressure in the room. Here's the fourth reason why zooming out is an important stage of my zoom out, call it out, work it out process: strategic alignment. Organisations are complex with many moving parts working towards various goals. Focusing too narrowly on one area can lead to misalignment with the organisation's broader mission or strategy. Zooming out ensures that individual teams, departments or projects remain in sync with the larger objectives of the company. It allows leaders to make decisions that not only benefit their immediate group but also support long-term business goals. For example, a department might focus on increasing its own productivity, but when zooming out, a leader might then realise that other departments are working on initiatives that could enhance overall company performance through enhanced productivity too. This zoomed out view enables better collaboration and resource sharing. Likewise, a person's life is complex with many moving parts and areas for potential focus at any given time. Your personal strategy is aligned when you're working on things that resonate with how you're feeling and what feels most important to focus on right now. If, for example, friendship is important to you, then your increasingly bad mood over time can be solved when you zoom out to spot that because you've been doing so much overtime, you aren't starting to hate work, but rather you're missing the happiness and relaxation that comes from hanging out with your friends. An easy problem to solve once you zoom out and spot that, and of course take steps to work against it. Finally, reason number 5 why zooming out is an important stage of my zoom out, call it out, work it out process: broadened creativity and innovation. When individuals or teams remain too focused on the minutiae, creativity can stagnate. They may miss out on opportunities to innovate or think outside the box. By zooming out, they expose themselves to different perspectives, industries or trends that can inspire new ideas. In life, we have many routine tasks and admin tasks that can build up. We despair that we can't add more hours to our day, but if we zoom out, we sometimes spot themes that we can delegate. Want to forego some housework? Would the money spent on someone to iron and clean for you free up the time to do the things that actually interest you? Or is paperwork the task you tend to avoid? Could you find a broker to take care of all of your insurance policies and get that one off your list each year? That little bit of creativity in life could lead you to more time spent on more interesting things and to actually lose some of the boring stuff whilst doing so. In a workplace design or product development setting, zooming out might mean you want to look at what competitors are doing, considering how global trends are shifting, or even exploring technologies in totally unrelated fields in order to push your thinking further. This wider view can spark innovations that wouldn't have emerged if the focus had remained so narrow. In conclusion, zooming out to gain perspective is essential for 1. Fostering better decision making, 2. Improving problem solving, 3. Building emotional resilience, 4. Ensuring strategic alignment, and 5. Encouraging creativity. It's a practice that can be applied at every level, from individual contributors to leaders managing entire organizations. Developing this habit helps balance short-term challenges with long-term success, allowing individual teams to make more thoughtful, strategic, innovative choices. By zooming out, we avoid getting lost in the weeds and instead navigate the landscape with clarity and purpose. Check out my personal strategy system, mystrategy.me, for a fantastic resource in reflecting upon and strategizing for behaviours and actions across your life. That is, zooming out, calling things out, and working things out through defined actions. Learn the steps of strategy as applied to yourself and your own life, whilst constantly building self-knowledge, no doubt applying that knowledge laterally to other people, and therefore continuously building maturity and perspective that can only prove valuable in every aspect of your world. Why not become the content and start the conversation with you?